did and forgot what they were supposed to do. Asking for the own, if you don't want to give me part of this whole thing, the whole thing matter will die. And later, after some years, I was not hearing that, oh, they said the first inland waterway that will launch in somewhere in Kaduna State. One of the ones that was happening in the people that need it most are not even having it. And so, when you talk about the government is, we shouldn't wait for the government, we have to wait for them. Because generally speaking, it's not as if we don't know what we are supposed to do. You are here with packed with knowledge about what we can do, and I'm sure so many of us who I've known this. Yes, every day, our eyes are open about the vastness of the economy. And I must tell you, I want you to help us out. How do we navigate ourselves out of this contingency? Not by the greed and greed that we greed of people in the or is it that? Is it lack of talent or is it lack of knowledge? We don't know that. But until that thing is unwound, we will not move anywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As one who has worked in government, I agree with you. Government is that space. Government all over the world is not just Nigeria. Government is always a laggard. We must understand that all over the world. We can argue the degrees to which this happens or that. For instance, you have in America now, the government wants to create a Department of Government Efficiency because it feels, the current administration feels things are not as efficient as they should be. That's the nature of bureaucracies. That's why I said, that's why I mentioned that quotation, that I could not wait for success. So I swam out to it. Engagement is very important. For instance, one of the things, when we started engaging the state governors, we realized that by going there, telling them, this is what we have on the table that we are about to do, and you might miss out. That was enough to trigger a response. That's why it's a partnership. That's why I said, advocacy will not cut it anymore. We've got to think engagement. There's no government you will go to and put some value on the table and there will not be some level of conversation. Because here's the mindset of those in government, that when you come to them, it's as if you are looking for something. That's the typical mindset. But we now need to reverse that look, we are bringing something. There are 8 littoral states. FIABC cannot engage with all 8 and not get a positive response from at least one. Through its network, its alums, probably there might be a FIABC member, maybe honorary member, that is a governor or a deputy governor or secretary to the governor or an influential person in government or in one party politics or the other. There has got to be. Because what I found is that everyone is connected to everyone. But the question is, are you willing? Are you ready? That's what needs to happen. So engagement will trigger things. It might not be enough of what you want, but that can start the process. I can say that out of experience, that the 1 or 2 private sector people that came, for instance, she's late now, and God bless her soul, bless memory, Lady Margaret Orakusi. Now, if you go to somewhere around Oyigbo, there's a jetty being built there. I don't know the state of that jetty now. During my time in Nimasa, Margaret Orakusi was probably one of the very few persons I could count the stakeholders that didn't come to Nimasa asking for something, looking for a contract or asking for anything. When she came, she was putting on the table, we could see the maritime projects she was doing, and the concern for us was how to not miss out. How to not miss out, we needed to at least find a way to associate with what was going to become a success. She had land cleared, that place was a massive heap of refuse. And she had reclaimed land, she had already cleaned the environment, she was doing that with NIWA and other agencies, and Nimasa had an environmental role to play. I was a special advisor to DG on strategy and communication. It wasn't something it wasn't something I had to struggle with. She had already made a compelling case. This was not somebody coming to take. This was somebody coming to say, look, I've already gone ahead of you guys. It just so happens that I need you to sign off on this or that. This train has already left. We need more of that mindset if we are going to succeed. So success does not come easily. We all have to go out. That's why I said we have to swim out to it. Kogi State is a confluence state. It even makes it a greater, for instance, I mean Kogi as an instance. Visit the governor. If what you have to use to bring him into the fold is giving an honorary membership or whatever it is, and then you're laying it at the table and it's clear. So I can't go into the nitty-gritty, but it's a mindset that we have to adopt because government is slow. We have to get ahead of it. That's one of the things that I learned, and that's why I want to encourage and to say, don't be discouraged. Engage and demand. We have senior government officials. I think the two of them have left. The next conversation should be, all right, this is what we are planning to do. We know you're already doing this and that. There's a point of convergence. Let me give you a typical instance. When we visited the DG of NIMASA, then Dr. Jamo visited the governor of Lagos on the Blue Economy Project, for instance. I was on that team. The governor said, okay, you know what? I could be interested in Blue Talent, which is, what's it called now? Seafarers, training of seafarers. But we already have a maritime academy in Oron, but we don't mind being, what do you call it now? A mini campus in Lagos. I can provide infrastructure. I can provide whatever it will take. I can provide buildings, whatever it will take. Now, what was missing in that meeting was a FIABC-like party. Let's say a CIPM, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, because we're talking talent here, that could have just brokered it. Now, what could have happened, or the expectation of governance would have been that maybe someone on the Lagos team in doing their job would have made that connection. My governor is ready, NIMASA is ready. How do we create this linkage? But because it was government talking to government, can you see what's happening? That match did not light. This 4 years down the line. That's why I'm saying we cannot, the stakes are too high for us to leave it totally to them. We must up our game. Because if CIPM has said, oh, we have the database, we are the warehouse of manpower development in Nigeria. All right? So do we need to create an agency? Do we need to create a special purpose vehicle? Whatever it is, that's where private sector would have come to lead it. And that's why I'm saying to FIABC that you are in a unique position right now to spark off these engagements. And one thing I want to encourage you to do is to set up a Blue Economy Committee within your body to focus on this and to begin to take some steps. So there are lots of irons in the fires, but we have not connected the dots, the linkages to spark them into life is what's missing. And the problem is that we are waiting for civil servants who by their default status, you know, it's their wheelbarrow-like. You know what a wheelbarrow, you have to lift it and push it. And when we need to do that, we must do it. Because you are investing, your resources are going into this. So it is in your interest to help drive the policy, if policy is what is needed. If policy is the only thing remaining, to help drive it, it is in your interest. So you must find a way to have a seat at the table. That's how this works. Otherwise, we'll keep preaching it as you've continued to say, and nothing will come out. For me, as the founder of the Blue Economy Academy, what I have, NIMASA in 3 years was like my PhD in maritime and blue economy. As a technician, I know how it works. And what we have done at the Blue Economy Academy is to translate that into modules of learning, but in a very functional way. Not academic now. These are the things you can begin to do. Calls you can begin to make. Just like you have Lagos Business School. As you're finishing a program in Lagos Business School, you're already seeing results from the network, the connections, and what have you. So most of us have access to governance. How are we using the access? How are we leveraging it to move industries and sectors forward? So I feel you, sir, because I've been there. I know what it's like. But what I also know is that if we want something, we have to get up and move the needle. Otherwise, in 5 years' time, we'll be back here and we're still discussing this. And I hope that FIABC can begin to make the move in engagement terms. And let's begin to see. I want to see the president of FIABC Africa and Nigeria in Bayelsa with the governor. And then a statement that, okay, we are giving you this plot to develop as a test blue city. Then FIABC, your network, your members, with all of the connections, can we do this? Let's see what it will look like. And I can tell you, the governor of Ogun State, once he sees that, he will call Mr. Adele and say, are you not my brother again? What happened? I'm seeing you in Bayelsa. That's how things work in this country. Well, I'm seeing you in Bayelsa. What happened? You are from this state. That will be the next question. I can tell you from my state that if they see me doing this, they will ask, and you are from this state and you have never, they will accuse me as if it is my fault. But the point I'm making is there are things we can do. There are low-hanging fruits. Let's take them first and let the policy and the bureaucracy catch up. They are lagging indicators. They are laggards.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm done. One take.
Yeah, sorry, we just have one more question.
One more? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Reverend Dr. Babajide David. I'm from New York City. My question to my honorable,
Thank you, sir.
you are very inspiring, your message, and eloquent. My question is, I've been watching and I see the ocean bringing dollar in. Now, luckily, I'm one of the contact persons in New York City when it comes to affairs of Nigeria and Africa. My question to you, my honorable, how can we be in safe haven when it has to do with honest person to deal with in Nigeria? Now, I want to see or hear from the panel. Who can we get in touch with when we want to get property here that we won't cultivate in empty barrel, that we pay and we don't get nothing in return? Fortunately, I'm very close to the Black American business people and developers. And I think before COVID, Jermaine Sanwo-Olu came to the US to ask for people of business. And unfortunately that I was there as one of the people that he spoke with. Now I want to see how you can make it that we will have confidence in Nigeria when we're talking of real estate, because we have big real estate developers that they are invested in Nigeria real estate. I was invited to Nigeria Embassy last year. They urged me to use my influence to bring business people to Nigeria. Where our problem started from is the consulate, where they can't get visa because they contacted visa to a private company. So now, if you can advise me, so I carry the message home that we are safe to do business with Nigeria or Africa particularly, that these are the list of people we can deal with, that we can sleep without open one eye.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Reverend. We appreciate your question. It's always a germane concern because these are investments that we're talking about here. I think you are already in the right space. You're already in the right space. Because when you make plans of the nature that you have indicated, and by the way, New York City is one of the leading blue economy centers in the world. I mean, in terms of what happens between New York and New Jersey, their port and what goes on there. So you've come to the right place in terms of a professional, having access to the right professionals to guide you in that. And so you'll be meeting with the presidents of the two presidents, FIAPSI Africa and Near East. Mr. Dele is here. He's going to work with you. And then, of course, Mr. Opatola is here as well. So here you have both FIAPSI, which is the international body for real estate practice. And then you also have members of the NIESV, that's the Nigerian Institution for Estate Surveyors and Valuers. So you are in good company. So I hope that addresses your concern. Before I leave, I want to reference something I watched 2 weeks ago on television. It was in Enugu State. The governor of Enugu State and the owner of Landmark. Gentlemen, that's a man that understands what is under that blue rug. That's a man that understands the blue economy. I've never met him. I just saw it, and by the time I turned to it, I saw the governor, and what I could hear was Nike Lake Resort, and I saw Landmark. I didn't need to watch it any further. I could establish what was about to happen. And that's also a governor. That's why I said, go to the governor. The governors are the key to the blue economy. Let's be clear. Yes, we will eventually have a national policy. It's taken a while in coming. We had started that from NIMASA to the ministry then, and then under the chairmanship of the then vice president. We had a couple of meetings, but then of course, the tenure elapsed or ended, and then here we are. So we will get there. But don't wait for the policy. Write your own policy and start to execute, and then converge. There will be a convergence. But if you wait for the policy, it comes in 10 years. Uninvested resources will go latent. So blue economy will allow you to broaden your mix of portfolio in this business, and you need it. No investor sticks only to a singular line of investment. So here we see a man who encountered a very painful, and let's agree with that, setback. That was actually a thriving blue economy endeavor. Things happen. But here we also see a man who is resilient as the seas, as the waters. Who then says, okay, this has happened. Rather than throw his hands up in the air, blame, whatever, accuse, he locates another playing field, another watery playing field, a blue playing field. Nike Lake Resort in Enugu used to be a very fantastic place. And here we see a man, that's a blue economy, that he decides to move from the coast, because Landmark was on the coast, and decides to say, well, if the coast is giving me stress because of the construction of the Lagos, that's the coastal highway, which in itself, if accomplished, or when accomplished, will actually add significant value. But do not wait. We don't know when it will be accomplished. The man goes from the coast, from the coastal side to the blue corridor. That is how this game is played. How? Sitting down with the governor. The governor did not need to think twice. This man has something on the table. Gentlemen,